SST. Hello everybody, today is a cool day. I got a book in the mail. The book is in a box and I got to get that mother out. The kids call that unboxing. I don't know why you don't just say take it out of the box, show it off, stuff like that. But this one comes directly from the United Kingdom, one of my very favorite publishers, a publisher called SST Publications. Ever hear of them? And this book is one that I'm pretty excited about. I haven't read it yet. I read one book from the author and I dug it, man. I loved it, and I have no excuse for why I haven't read any more of the others, but I will. It's just a matter of time. I got a lot of stuff to read, and this is one that's on the list. It just made the list. It's one that's been on the list for a little while, just a matter of getting to it. So this publisher, SST Publications, makes signed and limited editions from the United Kingdom. Like I said, the owner, Paul Fry, is a phenomenal dude, phenomenal business. I love this publisher. They make great books at a very affordable price. You're talking about beautiful books for the neighborhood of $50-ish delivered, depending on the exchange rate and stuff like that. But one of my very favorite publishers publishes some authors that I really dig. So I strongly recommend you check out their website, SST Publications. Type them buttons, push them buttons, and make it pop up on your screen and look and see what they got, what they had, what you wish you could have got, but it's all sold out and stuff like that. But I found out about this publisher a few years ago, years ago. As a Joe R. Lansdale fan and book collector, I found out that this publisher in the United Kingdom had published a book of his, also that they had published a graphic novel of his and a collection of his. And I started noticing other books by other authors, and around that same time, a book called The Only Good Indians by an author called Stephen Graham Jones. Ever hear of him? He had a book coming out, SST Publications. And the cover had artwork from an artist named Francesco Gianni. I'm sure I don't say it all right. But the artwork on the cover of that book was unbelievable. I didn't know the author. I didn't know the book. I did read some buzz about The Only Good Indians, and one of my authors that I collected, Joe R. Lansdale, did plug them in an interview he did. But the artwork was so phenomenal that I couldn't resist. I had to have this book. Just looking at the cover, look at it, it's all shiny. That artwork just did it. It's so nice. And then later he came out with Mongrels from the same artist and the same author, Francesco Gianni. And that artwork, again, was just so nice. I had to have it. And this is a book that I read. I'll talk a little bit about that. I read My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady, Hendrix. And I love that book. And one day I finished that book and said, man, that was good. And the next book on my list was Mongrels by Stephen Graham Jones. And I still had a little bit of time left. I wanted to do some more reading, so I put that one away, grabbed Mongrels, and I started reading maybe 20 minutes or so. And I had a little trouble adjusting from one person's prose to the next, and from one person's voice to the next. And Stephen Graham Jones is one that has a different kind of prose, a different kind of voice, if you will. And it was hard to go from this one to that one. I struggled a little bit that first 15 or 20 minutes, whatever the time was. And I was messing around after that. Maybe the next morning, I pulled up a podcast listening to an interview by Stephen Graham Jones. And it dawned on me, it clicked. Hearing this guy talk on the interview made what I was reading in the book feel more natural. So listening to the way he talked in person, talking to these other people, then when I went back to the book, I got it. Because I'd already heard the way he talked. Now I'm reading a lot similarly the way he talked, thinks, does, moves, whatever. And I got it, and it clicked, and I loved Mongrels. That was a phenomenal book. Highly recommend Mongrels. But now I want to talk about a book called My Heart is a Chainsaw, one that I haven't read. I do have a trade edition copy of that book I got from VJ Books. It is a signed edition. Real quick, I'll show off something here. So I was glad to get this one. It is signed by the author. That one came from VJ Books. I think they still have some of these available. If you're interested, get you one. But SST, I had this book, My Heart is a Chainsaw, come up for sale last year. And it was made available September the 25th, 2021. That's the date I ordered it. About a year later, October the 6th, they shipped the book from the United Kingdom, and here it is, October the 14th, the book is in. I paid around $50 US, something like that, to get this book from there to here, and it is here. So the shipping worked for me. Let's see what this Francesco Gianni artwork looks like. Let's look at my signature. Let's see what kind of book I got. I'm hoping for the best. SST gives you a big box covered with cool stamps. And you don't get stamps on large packages very much anymore unless you're ordering for United Kingdom. But let's see what we got. I love that SST's books. They're so nice. My cutting job was bad. I guess you got to actually put pressure on it. The knife doesn't do all the work for you. But their books are so nice, high quality, beautiful stuff, and the price is so nice. You get more for your money from SST Publications than probably any publisher on earth. High quality, great pricing, and authors that I actually dig, man. And authors that you might dig too. And so far, I've always gotten this nice little note from Paul. Hi, Tim. Thanks so much for your order. Enjoy. Take care. Paul. Very nice touch. I saved these. This will end up going inside the book. A nice touch. I appreciate it. Nice. Stuff like that adds a little bit of charm, a little bit of personality to the customer business relationship. Whatever you describe that. All right. So I showed you lots of packing peanuts. And then beyond that, my book here is in a bubble envelope. Let's get that opened up and see what else is there to see. Now, I got a SST, Short Scary Tales bookmark. I read every book that I've read for the last 3 years with an SST bookmark. That's how we roll. But the book's wrapped in tissue paper. You got stickers, SST. The nice touches. I hate tearing them. Just like Christmas, I've always felt like somebody put effort into wrapping that present, and now I'm going to put almost no effort into just destroying their work. Always been that way. Way it goes. I always got them presents unwrapped. That's a fact, and I always will get SST Publications books unwrapped. And this is just too sweet. There's that Francesco Gianni dust jacket cover artwork. Take a good look. Man, it just looks too nice. And there's the spine. When I got The Only Good Indians, and I put that book on the shelf, all of my kids, I had it sitting on the shelf, so it was kind of facing this way for a little while because the dust jacket artwork looked so good. But both of my kids and my wife, they all stopped and they said, "That's nice. That one is good." And just phenomenal, man. Amazing dust jacket artwork. Let me stretch it out. Get a grander, bigger picture of that dust jacket artwork. So nice. Man, it looks good. And that's the kind of stuff that when you put it on the shelf, it makes it look special. You can have a great book on the shelf, and a great book is awesome. But when a great book looks good on the shelf, that's what drives the collector in me. That's one of the things. And here's our cloth-bound book, Smith-sewn binding. I don't know how well you can see that. Beautiful bindings. Another thing about SST Publications, how do they make them so cheap, but the bindings are always nice? I've gotten some expensive books from expensive publishers who use quality bindings, and they weren't that nice and tight and seemingly perfectly bound. Here is our end paper illustrations, old VHS tapes. And looking at those VHS tapes, to me, some of them are not old, and that means I'm old. I see some of these titles and I think they're new movies, but to my kids, they're ancient. Silent Rage. You notice, I noticed that real quick. Silent Rage. As a kid, I was a big Chuck Norris fan. And this was probably, I think it was Chuck Norris' first venture into almost horror territory. And that movie scared me, and I loved it all at the same time. And the back end papers, the same. Awesome. Some great movies in there. Here is our signature page. Mine is copy 44. All right, now let's take a look and see some of these interior illustrations. So a lot of the things that make SST Publications such a great publisher, besides price, which I've fawned over, besides quality materials and binding, which I've already fawned over, amazing dust jacket illustrations, which I've already talked about, the additional added touch that makes SST so great are the interior illustrations. I've mentioned other publishers. There are other publishers that charge 4 times this for a book. Quality is equal, and they will not have the interior illustrations in there. It's amazing. It's a true testament. And I think somebody once told me, and they are probably right, that you can't compare SST to other publishers because it's not a fair comparison. Because SST is just, they're doing more for less than anybody out there. I like getting stuff at a good deal. So if the guy can make a great book at a great price and sell them all out and make his money and do good with life and all that kind of stuff, please keep them coming, because I'm a big fan. I'm a customer, and I love that stuff. But anyway, we're looking at some amazing interior illustrations. Just amazing stuff. I didn't show you. A lot of folks will ask about the text size and things like that. They'll want to know how big is it, how small is it. And so here we go. I'll show you, and you can judge for yourself. The text size, a little bit small. Not tiny, but a little bit smaller than some. So we'll say medium small. It's not the most medium. I might have missed some illustrations, I don't know, but I'm trying to get them all. Some phenomenal interior illustrations. Can't say more. I feel like I'm just fawning way too much, fanboying out, if that's something, is fanboying out something. But it just doesn't get any better than this. I can't say enough good things about this book, about what I get from SST Publications in general. So when it comes to the author, Stephen Graham Jones, I read Mongrels. I loved it. But this book, My Heart is a Chainsaw, is actually the first book, and I don't know how many there are going to be, but they call it the Lake Witch Trilogy. And there's a second book that's coming out in that series soon. I just pre-ordered a signed trade edition of the second book from Barnes & Noble. And that one is called Don't Fear the Reaper. I'm assuming and hoping SST Publications also publishes Don't Fear the Reaper, and I'm able to get copy 44 of that one. But again, in the meantime, I've got a trade edition coming. I don't know. Is there going to be more in that series? It'd be cool. Anyway, I can think of no more lies to tell about this one. So thank you for your time. C'est la vie, baby.